Hello everyone, this is Chara, and today I'm going to be ranking all the Splatoon 1 weapons in a tier list. Now, I'm aware many people have no idea what the Splatoon 1 meta actually is, so I'm going to be going over it real quick and touching on the abilities, subs, and special weapons as fast as possible, just so everyone gets a brief understanding of it, and if you enjoy, be sure to subscribe for more content. And without further ado, let's talk about the Splatoon 1 meta. So to understand the Splatoon 1 meta, before we talk about any of these lovely weapons, what you must understand are the abilities. Now, I've gone ahead and ranked some of these. Here's like some basic abilities, you know, like your solid abilities, your high tier abilities. Forget all of that, okay? Boom. Boom. This is the ability meta in 2 seconds, okay? Quick respawn worked every time. Every time. It worked all the time. No situationalness. Do I need to explain why a 3-second respawn time is broken? I hope I don't. I hope that's self-explanatory. You respawn in 3 seconds. Stealth jump. It works differently in Splatoon 1 than 2. In Splatoon 1, it completely hid your marker. No getting close to see it at all. You can't see it even if it's going to land right on top of you with a roller flick. Too bad. Just deal with it. It did slow your jump down by 20%, but that really didn't matter that much, because with quick respawn, you respawn in 3 seconds anyway. So in Splatoon 1, everyone would run a bunch of this on their build, and occasionally a little bit of some of this stuff. Okay? That's it. So the meta is weapons and players that are getting back into battle in 3 seconds and back into mid in 5 seconds. Very drastic. Sub-weapons real quick, okay? Bombs, still pretty standard. They're a little bit better in Splatoon 1, but so is everything else, so bombs are pretty normal. Wall is solid on a few weapons. Sprinkler does damage and doesn't reduce pain in this game. Beacons don't show location or have multiple jumps, but they're still pretty good. Ink Mine sucks. Ink Mine is terrible. It ruins any weapon that has it. For the record with mine, you cannot detonate them like you can in Splatoon 2. Placing one just destroys the other one. Mine is a one-shot with a slow explosion and a tiny radius that never kills. And, most importantly, you can't sub-strafe with mines. However, there is one sub-weapon that is more broken than anything we've ever seen, and that's Disruptor. Okay? So if you don't know what Disruptor is, so just picture Toxic Mist, but it sticks to you. Okay? Like, it stays on you. Oh, by the way, you can't jump out, because quick super jump isn't good in this game. It doesn't work at low quantities. Oh, and by the way, you're against a mini, so while you can't move, that player is moving at hyperspeed. And by the way, they can turn themselves and their entire team invincible for 5 seconds. You die. you die. By the way, you can throw 2 of them in one ink tank. Which means if you bubbler, you can use like 3 or 4 of them. This thing is broken. It should never return ever. Toxic Mist is bad purely to never risk recreating what Disruptor was, okay? And special weapons, okay? Special weapons in Splatoon 1 were pretty extreme. The 3 of them that weren't were the Seeker and Burst Rush. Now, Seeker Rush is terrible, not only because it's not the greatest special, but also because Seeker, like Ink Mine, does not let you substrafe, and in Splatoon 1, whatever bomb rush you had was the same bomb as your sub. So you would have Seeker as a sub weapon and not be able to substrafe, and then your special you can't substrafe. It's terrible. Also, bomb rushes don't get extra throw range, so the utility Burst Rush has in Splatoon 2 does not exist here. Strike is okay. It's like Booyah Bomb, but rather than making you have a ton of armor, you're just vulnerable. So it's just worse Booyah Bomb. Killer Whale is fine. You get a lot of them because Killer Whale is 160p. Echo is alright. Honestly, could rank this one lower because of QR, but it's not bad. And then the bomb rushes are good because bomb rushes can charge your next bomb rush. Like if your suction bombs explode after the bomb rush ends, you can get more of them. Neo Splash is a niche in this game entirely because of that. And Zuka's pretty solid. However, nothing compares to these two. These are the best. They are invincibles. They are panic buttons that will keep you alive. Bubbler will chain to your team. Kraken is a kill option that lasts for yourself. It's not even about that these things can kill. It is about that they keep you alive. They are panic buttons that will keep you alive. It's so crucial for team fights. These two are so good. They're just invincible. This is your only answer to Disruptor, by the way. And I mentioned Disruptor earlier, this is your only counter, is popping one of these two. Oh, and by the way, you can shoot Kraken and Bubbler and knock them back. For some weapons, this is crucial. For some weapons, it does nothing. Realistically, it doesn't stop the specials keeping you alive, but it might keep the opponent alive for a bit. So there's the little bit of counterplay that you have. So with that all being said, now that the basics of the Splatoon 1 meta and how crazy it is have been explained fully, let's now talk about the actual weapons. So top tier is going to be 3 weapons. Only 3 weapons, yes. We have Custom Range Blaster, great killing power, reliable shot deviation if you shoot right when you jump, obviously has good range, good pressure. Quick respawn is great for it because it allows it to play aggressively and take more risks. Splat Bomb as a sub-weapon, very useful for it, and it's even better in Splatoon 1 because it has a bigger radius. And Kraken. Invincibility special, keeps up the aggression, and Custom Range Blaster has light depletion, which means you only lose 40% of the special when you die compared to the default in Splatoon 1 of 60%. Very big difference. Second up is Cherry H3. So picture H3B, but it has a wall to paint for its special. Its bubbler is 180p instead of armor being 220, and it can run a combination of damage up and QR because it doesn't require as much damage up compared to Splatoon 2 with MPU. Oh, and light depletion bubbler. I don't know why, but it also has light depletion bubbler. So you barely lose any of the bubbler when you die, and it's really, really easy to get a bubbler. Like, if you manage to die, despite having a wall, range, one-shot, and, you know, just everything, you only lose 40% of your special. Now, there's one more weapon that can stand with these behemoths, and that's this thing. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Vanilla Slosher in Splatoon 1 has the best main and sub combination in the history of Splatoon. There is no contest. This thing has Burst Bomb, and by using a tiny bit of damage up, you can combo the very outside of a Burst Bomb hit and a Slosh to kill. Like, burst combo, but you can miss, and it will still kill. Like, you don't have to hit the middle hitbox of the Burst Bomb. You can hit the outside hit, and it will still one-shot combo. You get the Burst Bomb for mobility, that helps Slosher as well. The main weapon's pretty insane. It's basically the same as in Splatoon 2. It's awesome. Why is it not above these two? It has Ink Strike. Sorry everyone, this weapon was cursed with Ink Strike. This one got Kraken, but this one has Wall, so no one cares about it. If this thing got Kraken or Bubbler, it would be in a tier of its own up here. But unfortunately, it was given Ink Strike. Very sad, but it is how it is. So, barely missing out on top tier is the Zinc Mini Splatling. Now, if you heard the Disruptor talk bit, you understand why this is here. This is your Disruptor Bubbler weapon. It gets Bubbler very fast. Mini is very fast. The second charge of Mini is faster than it is in Splatoon 2. Very good kit synergy. Why is it worse than the others? Heavy depletion. This thing loses 75% of its special when it dies, and this loses 40. That is the only reason that Zimmy is not top tier. If this thing had medium or light depletion, it would be up here. But because it has heavy, it's going down here. Zimmy barely misses out on the top cut. Luna Neo. I might be a little bit biased for this one. I think the majority of Splatoon 1 players would probably put it down here. Luna Neo has Clash Blaster's radius in this game. It has a radius of 40. So if you want to picture hell, there's a pretty good representation for it. Its kit is Splat Bomb and Splat Bomb Rush. Splat Bomb is great for it. It's basically the same as Range Blaster. It's really good for it. Bomb Rush, it's not great. It's not bad. And I would say the special being able to build the next one is the only reason Luna can take advantage of it. But for shorter range maps, like in general, if the maps are really short range, you can run a Luna. But even longer range maps, Luna can work fine. Like, it pokes really well. Its radius is huge. Like, you just wall out so much area. It's crazy. Like, this was one of the first weapons to actually take advantage of QR. I think it's really good. Some people will say range outclasses it enough to where it should be in S. I will put it up here because I think the radius it has, plus how well it works with QR, is enough for me to put it a tier higher. And Bento Charger is up next, and a lot of people are expecting E-Liter to be the best charger in Splatoon 1. It isn't. Bento is better. So why is Bento better? Bento can play more aggressively and thus can run a mix of quick respawn and damage up. Vanilla Liter can't really play damage up or play as aggressively. Yes, even with burst bombs. Wall is pretty useful for it in the same way it is with Fire Fin, and Echolocator is the same special, still very useful, still good at finding people. This is the charger that allows you to play aggressively. So this is what you need to run if you want to play chargers. There are a few maps, like Moray, you will definitely still see E-Liter over this. But for the most part, you will see Bentos over it. Bento is most of the time where it's going to be. Like, it's really that simple. This thing can actually keep up with these weapons where E-Liter can get ran over. So it gives it a slight edge. Alright, last in this tier, Wasabi Splatter Shot. Wasabi has Splat Bomb, which is a bit better than Suction Bomb for aggressive purposes, especially since Splat Bomb has the bigger radius in this game. And while Zuka is useful, Zuka costs 220p. It is the most expensive special in the game. So Wasabi can get a much more frequent amount of strikes. So that combined with Splat Bomb being better for aggro means in the QR meta, we typically saw more Wasabis than we did T-Techs, and Wasabi is a tiny bit better. T-Tech I don't think is that much worse. Splash Up players used to be very opinionated on this, but I would only put T-Tech a tier lower. In fact, we can talk about you right now, T-Tech. T-Tech is still solid. It's still Zuka, it's still very aggro, Suction's still very good, but Wasabi just a little bit more special output with how aggressive you have to play. Splat Bomb a little bit better for aggro play. Good tier. These weapons could compete with all of the others at the top. They're still really solid. So we already talked about T-Tech. That's fine. Let's get the charger everyone knows now as being good in this game and get to E-Liter. E-Liter, it has damage up for partial charges. Now, partial charges with chargers go 20% less distance in Splatoon 1, so they don't travel as far. It was something they did in 2.7.0 to finally balance damage up chargers. This weapon is still very good at defending itself. It has burst bombs and echo. Burst bombs are absolutely great for defending itself, especially with damage up. You can make a burst bomb and shot kill. You can have 2 tap shots kill. The main problem with this weapon is you can't run QR with it. Like, you can't. It doesn't fit on it very well. So it's not great at this point for that reason. If a QR team gets control on an E-Liter and really pushes up, the leader struggles, and E-Liter in this game does not paint. You cannot get a frequent amount of specials to try to help your team, and Echo's not your main pushback special anyway. Leader is not a painter in this game. By the way, I will now take this time to talk about all the unscoped chargers. They're terrible. They have less range and no upside. There is no charge hold. Like, besides preference, there is no reason to play unscopes over scope. The unscopes are not that much worse, they're just not worth talking about. Like Splatoon 2, is the charge hold worth it? In this game is, lol, you have less range, you suck. That's it. Dynamo Roller at the start of the game was way up here. One of the most busted weapons to ever exist. Crazy hitbox size, crazy paint, crazy everything. Now it's over here. Dynamo used to be absolutely busted in QR stealth as well, because without vertical flicks, when you jump, you would flick your roller instantly upon landing and kill anyone camping your landing. And remember, bigger hitbox, you can't see where they land. You would literally have moments where you would just exist and then boom, Dynamo just drops, insta-kills you out of nowhere. However, they did reduce the hitbox, and they made it so stealth jump you can't shoot until you land, so Dynamo now has to land and then do its flick. So Dynamo is now solid. It really struggles in other modes, like TC and Rainmaker. It's a good bit worse than Zones, especially with how well Dynamo paints now. But I think it's still good enough, and it does work well with quick respawn, so I will put it here. It has Sprinkler, which is great for it, helps its painting since Sprinkler is actually good in this game, and Echolocator is still solid. Alright, Carbon Roller is going to be another biased one where I rank it higher than most people. Carbon does typically use some amount of damage up. Carbon does not have a vertical, but its horizontal flick has much more range. Carbon is hard carried by its kit in this game. It has Burst Bomb and Inkzuka. Burst Bomb, obviously you know how that works with Carbon, because of Carbon Deco. Great combo potential. But even more importantly, Burst Bomb is the best sub to have alongside Inkzuka, because Inkzuka is slow, and it takes away your main weapon. So if you get caught in close range, moving can be very awkward with Zuka. But now you have a Burst Bomb to move with. So Burst Bomb not only has great synergy with the main weapon, it also has synergy with Special. And the main weapon loves to have Zuka because it doesn't have range. The main sub and Special synergy are probably some of the best we've ever seen in Splatoon history. Carbon loves Burst Bomb and Zuka. This kit is amazing for it. It's very important. So that is why I'm ranking it higher. It's a great Slayer. It cannot run as much QR as Luna. It's not as ridiculous as Luna or range. But it is up there, and it has a really good kit. Soda Slosher. Another Zuka weapon. Soda in this game has Splat Bomb and Zuka. Honestly, it's not that different from Soda. Its special is used for distance pressure or helping with certain matchups. The Splat Bomb combos with the main weapon, except you can't stop it with bomb defense, but regular defense, sort of, so it's still Splat Bomb combos are there. Zuka helps with distance. It's nowhere near as insane as having a Burst Bomb, and the special's still 220p compared to 180. But, like, it's still a really good main sub special combo. It's not as good as Slosher with Burst Bomb, but it's still there. It's still really good. So I still rate it rather highly. So now we're going to get into good niches. These are good weapons that you do not play everywhere. You only play them for specific maps. And one of the best examples of this is Octobrush. Now, Octobrush is solid. It has less range, less painting power, but it has Beacon Kraken, and it can two-shot with a bit of damage up. You'd run a damage QR swim speed hybrid on this weapon. And what you basically, if it was a good beacon map, you would run this. Mori in Splatoon 1, when the zones were near, like, your overlook, you would run this. You would crack an overlook, you would set up beacons. This is also good for Rainmaker, because in Splatoon 1, this has the highest DPS to the Rainmaker shield. Kraken's very good in it. So this is a niche for beacon maps and for Rainmaker. That's basically what this is. It's a good solidified niche. Like if you're playing Moray Towers, you want to have an Octobrush. But if it's not Moray and it's not Rainmaker, you probably don't really care about this weapon. That's the kind of things we're ranking. 52. This is your whale niche for really good whale maps. Stuff like Camp is pretty good. Rainmaker Blackbelly could be pretty good with the Rising Moon comp. Or Mackerel is another one, pretty solid for it. Maul, Walleye. Maps where you want a whale on a wall, this weapon's pretty good. That's about it. There's nothing else to say about 52 than that. Brim. It's like the 52's whale niche, but on a range blaster. It's good for whale maps. Most of the time you're still going to use CRB, but if you need it, you can use it. Alright, L3D. I'm going to put it in good niche. Now, this is like the 83, but a little bit better. If you really want to crack a niche, this is good. Good paint. Damage up works well with it. You do need a little bit. Has Burst Bomb. Solid kit. Honestly, kind of a fan of it. It's a fine weapon. It works well when you want Kraken. So, you know, not bad by any means. It's still a fairly solid weapon. Splash-O-Matic. This weapon is really good for suction rush spam. You can charge your bomb rushes with your special to get more bomb rushes. That's about it. It's pretty solid at that. If it was not QR meta, it would be way higher because it's really useful. But QR meta is another case of it can run this weapon over. Post-edit Chara here. While I made a solid and a situational niche tier, none of these weapons are very common and I thought it dragged out the video too much. So here they are ranked. If you have questions about them, ask in the comments and I'll try to get to it. Thank you. That's the list. There's that many weapons that we don't care about in Splatoon 1. It's a lot. Splatoon 1 is a much more strict, much less diverse meta. But there you go. This is the Splatoon 1 meta. It's very weird. Even like with the niches, most of the time, like 3 out of 4 weapons in a comp are in these 2 tiers. Sometimes 4 out of 4. Most of the time, you're just seeing these 2 tiers, not anything else. That is how strict Splatoon 1 meta is. So it's very fast, very fun, very strict meta, very cool. If you have any questions about the tier list, let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in another video. Thank you so much for watching.